I just now realized I was on the ending screen of like save and quit and not like my starting screen of begin adventure. Oops. Also, Steam is well, I guess we are like ending with this stream, but like we're not ending the stream itself yet. Steam is currently asking me, "You've played for 201 hours. Would you recommend this game to other players?" Uh, no. Quite frankly, yeah. Whoops on the save and quit there. And yeah, I'm past the 200-hour mark now. The last time that I streamed this game, I believe, was Christmas Day. We were spreading some holiday cheer, getting through a whole bunch of this game, and it is currently the 8th of February. It has been a little bit of a hot second since hopping into it because I was in the middle of doing my great grind that I wanted to do to get like fully prepared for the end. And after Christmas Day, I kind of hadn't really touched this game for a little while. I should have remembered that it was muted in the volume mixer from times like grinding here on my own time. Let's go ahead and unmute that so that we get some sound real quick. Because for a lot of January, I was preparing for the trip that Guzma was going to make here, and then spending like a couple weeks like spending time with him on his trip here and stuff. So I didn't really touch this game during January like at all, really. I did a little bit of my great grind like end of December while out of town. January kind of didn't really touch this game at all. And then end of January to early this month, I've kind of been going ham on the great grind, being like, okay, let's finally finish this off. And a few days ago, out of curiosity, I looked up, when did Persona 3 Reload come out again? Because it was sometime last year, February. And I looked it up, and the answer is February 2nd, 2024. So I missed the chance to like finish this off on like a perfect 1-year anniversary. Like my grind wasn't done at that point. I was like, oh well, never mind. I guess I'm not finishing it off on like a perfect 1-year anniversary. So a little bit longer than a year. I don't know if I've ever taken this long for a single playthrough of something ever, really. Like there's things like Fire Emblem 3 Houses where that was like 3 years on and off for multiple playthroughs. I mean, maybe my Golden Deer playthrough took a little bit more than a year, because I got so tired of that game that I straight up took like a half a year break right in the middle. That one was probably over a year. This might just be the first playthrough that I've ever done that has taken like over a year start to finish. It hasn't taken like as many hours as like streaming hours as other games. I think I've streamed more of like Assassin's Creed Odyssey on this channel. I think I have more content on it, like a lot more parts and stuff. But more hours in this game because of like the grind and stuff. I'm gonna look on YouTube Studio here really quickly. Fire Emblem 3 Houses, because now I'm curious if I look up at my playlists here. Golden Deer went from... Oh, it was showing the time spans for like my two separate like halves. I was so confused when at first it said April 10th, 2020 to July 21st, 2020. But that's just because I did like half and half, and then I wanted to list this separately. So I resumed it again like January the following year, and then went until February. So I guess I just went like ham then. So that wasn't, even with the half a year gap in the middle, it wasn't quite a full year time span with that one, because it went April until February the following year. So this might just be the first playthrough on the channel that has taken me over a year of just like a single playthrough. Like obviously like this altogether is like multiple years, but just a single playthrough. I think this is the first. I think this is my first over a year long playthrough, which yikes. Well, maybe things like my Minecraft series would count if you count that, just because like, you know, all the editing time that goes into the different parts of that. But in terms of just things that I stream and just play start to finish with like minimal editing time, this is definitely the first. So yeah, I want to finish this off, quite frankly. I currently have on the schedule this Assassin's Creed Valhalla, since like my regular tradition around here of starting the next Assassin's Creed playthrough on January 1st of each new year. And that was basically it. So I recently started Ghost of Tsushima, and I've been really enjoying that. But it's not super long. I've streamed it 3 times, and I'm already like well over 2/3 into the game. So it's like, okay, this is... I could probably just beat it in like one more stream, and then do like the DLC one more stream after that. Just have it be like a 5-stream game. That's super chill. I want more like 5-stream games. Not this. This is stream 30. For reference, Assassin's Creed Odyssey took 32 streams. And maybe this one will take 31 if I can't beat the super boss. I want to beat, like, the main campaign here. And I'm going to try the super boss. And if I can beat it during this session as well, great. If I can't and I have to, like, get better equipment and grind for that and stuff and come back at a later time, then I'll come back and finish that off, like, in, like, a 1-hour stream or something like that. So this is probably the last stream. There's a chance that it's the second last stream. So, yeah. And there's a little bit of 3D printing going on the side because I recently got the opportunity to, like, set up a little stand to sell 3D printed stuff at an upcoming, like, seed sale event in March. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Well, I should probably start printing a whole bunch of, like, plant-related things to be able to bring along. So that's kind of running there. And I figure at this point with Persona 3 Reload, who cares? So, in terms of my great grind, what I got was, I basically got my starting buffs persona from the main game because it's like, I want my starting buffs. I want to start out with all the thingamabobs here. There's the Drain Fire because she normally has a fire weakness. There's this just so I don't get like those elements, those ailments. There's this just because it's like she's not doing any attacks or anything anyway, may as well give me some stuff. And I didn't have like a Regenerate 3 card, and I only realized earlier today when I was about to say, I thought I didn't have the sound effects here. I have multiple save files because I have one that's, like, back where I can still grind. And earlier today, I booted up the game, did, like, the boss of the thing that I did, like, at the end of the last stream, and got up to this point where it's locked me into, like, hey, you have to do, like, the boss rush now. So I redid that bit. And it's only after doing that that I realized that I could get a Regenerate 3 skill card from the friggin' antique shop. And now, like, I can't go down there to duplicate it and get multiple. So I'll do that another time, probably. Because, yeah, I do like having Regen 3 and Invigorate 3. Like, this probably isn't half bad to have on here, but, like, yeah. So, yeah, that's the reason for that. I do now have a Regenerate skill card in my inventory, but I didn't want to redeem 2 when I could literally just spend one of the friggin' fragment thingamabobs and get another one there. I actually have Orpheus Telos in this one because I didn't have any social links to max out. I just have access to all the personas in this. I don't necessarily, apparently, I was about to say, I saw over on that screen that there was like a raid coming through, but it like wasn't coming up on any of the other screens, and I was very confused about that for a hot second. I greatly appreciate the raid there, Uncle Talks. Welcome on into me hopefully finishing this off. The Anima Nerd also raiding here. I presume that you two were probably streaming a thing together in that case. Welcome on into me finishing what I think is the longest single playthrough I've ever done in terms of like start point to end point, considering I started this, I think it was February 1st last year, or at least on the 2nd, but PC had that thing where it like came out, you know, like 10 p.m. my time zone like the day before, so I counted it as February 1st. So technically like February 1st last year is when I started this playthrough, and now here I am February 8th this year, ready to finish it off. So like, yeah. Welcome on into me finishing the game that felt like it was never gonna end because, like, holy crap, I grew a beard during this playthrough. Like, my god. It is absolutely insane. Yep. Been over a year long here. But yeah, what were you just streaming? Doing something co-op multiplayer? Something super incredibly competitive versus, or what was it there? But yeah, anyway, I couldn't get Orpheus Telos in the main game because I didn't max out my social links. This, it doesn't matter. Like, you just have access to all the personas. Well, apart from, like, the DLC ones I'm not shelling out money for. So, I got Orpheus Telos this time. And Orpheus Telos is just my person to, like, charge, concentrate, heat rise, or debilitate. Hey, here's, like, some support with healing and stuff. And then just stuff to, like, you know, not be dealing with ailments that much. And, this to take even less damage, because I'm already resisting everything. So, like, my damage is already reduced. So I figured, why don't I just get, like, Firm Stance on Orpheus Telos, and then I assume this stacks. I assume that means I'm taking a quarter damage. I don't actually know, it just sounded good in my head, so I made it. We were getting the new scoop called the Headliner. It's like content warning. I've heard of that name before, content warning, but I've never actually seen anything about it, so I don't really know anything about it. So you get in, like, some scoops and stuff like that, getting the latest deets. So yeah, that's my Orpheus Telos. I have another support persona being Messiah here, just as like another one that doesn't have to worry about damage too much. I would have to be careful during the super boss because just like Elizabeth, there is rules that you can't break. So I would have to be careful when Messiah is brought out, considering like the Reflect and Nullify that I can't be doing there. Because I figure I'm not always going to want to Heat Riser because that only affects one. Sometimes I'm going to want to like just do attack up across the entire party. So that's what this duo is for. Just like one of the specific things, but across the entire party. And then, like, Revolution. Messiah just gets an elf physical, so I figure, hey, I may as well throw that on and have, like, a bunch of safety here and stuff. Invigorate, Regenerate, just so that if I'm popping one of these things, I get a little bit of stuff back after, and just an Enduring Soul here for safety. And because I didn't know what else to put on, I could only inherit up to, like, 4 things, I think. Like, I can only have, like, up to 4 skills passed down during Fusion anyway. And I had a metric shit ton of skill cards of Enduring Soul from me grinding with, I believe that's one of the King level, which would be like level 13, something like that, skill cards. Because I just got like the Arcana Burst, and I started farming the Reaper, and I started getting like cards over and over again, and yeah, I just, also even before I started getting to the point where I could farm the Reaper, I just never really backed out for like a full heal. I kept on using items and SP and figuring out ways to like stay in, so I could keep my Arcana Burst with like the higher level of cards, so I could keep on getting more EXP and cooler skill cards and stuff. But because of that, I have like a butt ton of like all the max level skill cards. So I was just like, oh, let's just pop an Enduring Soul. Actually, wait, maybe Messiah comes with Enduring Soul. I actually threw these builds together about a little bit less than a week ago when I started finally fusing like all these personas together. And now I don't remember if you actually came with it and got my level up or whether I used a skill card. Either way, you have it. I have a bunch of those skill cards. Yeah, we're taking pics of ET or die trying. Well, did you get a pic of ET? I decided that my friggin' almighty build this time, rather than being Thanatos, is going to be Satan. Because Satan has the exclusive skill of Black Viper, which is like the hardest hitting of the almighty attacks. So I was like, yep, this is gonna be my person for like the almighty attacks. This is here as well, even though there isn't really that much need for it. Like, I could just put on a skill card and replace it like Enduring Soul, but I was like, I'll leave it on for now, just because, again, I could only pass down like 4 things through like skill inheritance anyway. I passed down the things I want to pass down, and I didn't really have any other things in level up that I want in this slot. The other ones I actually want, where it's like, yeah, resist ailments, don't get hit as much. You normally have a wind weakness, so I got rid of that. Almighty Amp, Almighty Boost, single target boost, because I want to focus like all the damage that I can into this. Also, in the main game, I remember Almighty Amp being a massive pain in the ass to get, because there is no persona that just has it. There's Messiah that has, not Messiah, Hellel that has Almighty Boost, but there is no Almighty Amp. You need to get like a skill to mutate into Almighty Amp during a persona fusion, which is just RNG. And I remember taking an ungodly amount of hours in the main game to get Almighty Amp, where it's like, I had like this massive list of personas, the one with Almighty Boost, just fused it into this one to pass down Almighty Boost. Then if I don't get it to mutate into Almighty Amp, fuse it into the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, over and over again. And then after I fused all my Dudos together, then I reset the game and I try again. Or if Almighty Boost like mutates into something that isn't Almighty Amp, then I would also reset. I got Almighty Amp in the first go-around this time. Like, not the very first fusion that I did, but, like, among that list of personas, like, I didn't have to do a reset. I just immediately got it within, like, the first set. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Because when I did it during the main game, I was starting to get convinced that, like, I was missing something and, like, it wasn't actually possible because I was trying over and over again and I kept on mutating into things that weren't it. And I just got it first time this time, and I was very surprised about that. And then later, when I was doing, like, a completely different random fusion, I was passing down, like, something like one of these skills, I think it was, onto, like, some other persona that I was just, like, using to, like, fill the compendium or fuse into something else. And it was like, do you want this skill to mutate? And I was like, I don't know, I don't care, I'm not gonna use it. And I said yes. And there was another Almighty Amp that appeared later. I was like, oh, okay, so, you know, way better RNG this time than in the main game, interestingly enough. But yeah, yep, then you died. Well, you did indeed die trying, but you achieved your goal first, so that's something to be proud of there. So, yeah, now, oh, I can't do a full 360 rotation. So yeah, Satan is my almighty one now, just for, like, big guaranteed damage that can't be resisted at all. Thanatos, instead of being my almighty person, is now my slash guy, because Thanatos is kind of cool and actually has, like, a sword swinging animation for that sword on his hip. So he was my almighty magic guy in the main game, and this time I was like, I'm gonna turn him into my slash dude this time, and he can actually use that sword on his hip and stuff. Plus, I want to use, like, some of the stronger, like, also story kind of relevant ones where I can. Like Orpheus Telos, Messiah, and Thanatos, so they were easy picks for me to, like, use here, essentially. Apparently, you and a couple buddies had some misinformation about today, but I did say today and tomorrow. But tomato, tomato? I mean, tomato, well, tomato, tomato. I guess you can't really spell out tomato, tomato. Yeah, look at Anima being so silly, just spelling out tomato, tomato, instead of spelling out tomato, tomato. What a weirdo. So yeah, just Vorpal Blade here just for, like, big, severe damage. I could have put on Brave Blade, but it's like... This is just all targets, while Brave Blade is one, so if I had to choose between the two, may as well do this. Tomato! Yeah, there we go. When I do this, you can't even quite see it, because, like, it's kind of hidden in the white, huh? Doubles the chance of dealing a critical hit. Greatly raises critical rate. Raises critical rate. You know, pretty self-evident there. The only weakness Thanatos had was light, and because he repels darkness, I was like, screw it. For, like, consistency's sake to have, like, the 4 reses and then the 2 repels, I'll just put on repel light. Hopefully that wouldn't screw me in, like, the super boss by doing repel light instead of resist light, but oh well. Do multi-target boost because, like, Vorpal Blade all targets. And then, of course, like, slash amp to buff it by 50%, and slash boost to boost it by another 25%. So plus 75% damage. That is now plus 90% damage to Vorpal Blade with an extremely high chance of critting. So that's what's going on with Thanatos here. I have a Pierce one this time too. In the main game, my Pierce persona was just kind of like Odin. I more so focused into like electric with him, but it was like he could pierce if he wanted to. I never even knew that this skill existed when I was playing the main game, but this is apparently like the best Pierce one. And I also figured, like, I really want to have a Pierce one when, like, my main weapon, like, it doesn't matter my main weapon being Pierce. I don't know. Having something, like, really, really strong in Pierce. But, like, the hardest hitting physical theurgy that I have is a Pierce type. So I was like, okay, I definitely need a Pierce persona in my setup here. So I can switch to them when I use that theurgy. I still don't know how exactly it works. I just saw that that was the case from videos that I watched with, like, the Elizabeth battle, and then I started doing that and getting more damage, like, switching to relevant personas when I was using, like, a relevant theurgy and it boosts the damage. Like, I don't know if it was just, you know, having stuff like this, but hey. So, there's Preala, severe pierce damage to all foes, medium chance of fear. Basically the same kind of thing as Thanatos, where it's like double chance of dealing a critical hit. I don't have crit boost on him. I wasn't able to get that here, so I was just like, screw it. The Armor's Master, I have some skill cards of that. Crit rate amp, Drain Ice, because that would be a weakness that he'd otherwise have there. Pierce amp, Pierce boost, multi-target boost. Just get a whole bunch of damage for this is what's going on here. I'm bringing Scotty back because, like, I didn't build a persona for, like, every single element. Just, like, just 2 of the physical ones being Pierce and Slash, and 2 of the elements being Ice and Dark. Main reasons being, there are theurgies for that. So, because there's the King and I theurgy, I was like, okay, well, I definitely want to get my Scotty back. So I got my Scotty back here. Drain Fire, just like the main game, because, like, fire weakness otherwise. Enduring Soul, multi-target boost. Ice amp, ice boost, freeze boost, ailment boost. You know, just all that kind of stuff just to go into, like, a hard diamond dust is what's going on here. I initially built up a Beelzebub Dark persona to be, like, my main one. And then, when I had, like, a whole bunch of extra funds, and I realized I could 100% the Persona Compendium, and I was like, I may as well, and I was fusing stuff down. I saw that Beelzebub was, like, an ingredient in Lucifer anyway. I was like, oh, why don't I just, like, pass down the skills that I put on Beelzebub and just, like, slap it on Lucifer? So, that's what I did. Unfortunately, there isn't a harder hitting Dark thing, apart from, like, insta-kills. Outside of DLC, I would have to shell out for, like, Atlus's stupid, like, overpriced DLCs and just get a handful more personas if I want Dark that hits harder, as far as I could tell. So, just heavy, and it's mainly, like, if I want, like, the instances where I'd actually want to use a Dark attack are probably not going to be that frequent, but he's my duo to switch to when I'm using whatever the heck the Dark Theurgy is I'm forgetting right now. I don't really need both of them, I just really need the heavy tall, but it was a similar situation as some of my previous personas that I've showed here where I was like, well, I don't know what else to have on there, / what other skill cards to put on. I mean, I could put on, like, an Enduring Soul or something there. Ellie Dance to reduce hit rate, resist physical, just to resist all those physical thingamabobs. Fast heal, I don't know if it was fast heal that I used a whole bunch in the main game, or whether it was insta heal after I was looking through Metis' kit, and I saw that there was insta heal where it's like recover from ailments in 1 turn. And so I think I built all these personas with, like, fast heal thinking it was insta heal, and not remembering that insta-heal was a thing that existed. So I might have been a little bit dumb with putting fast heal on so many of my dudes, but oh well. Dark amp, dark boost, multi-target boost just for big dark damage. I got a Loki end that I actually made correctly this time, unlike the main game. Just when it's like, hey, I just want someone to hit a weakness. That's really it. So here's, like, heavy to 1 for all these different things. I'm sure through, like, some crazy fusion chain, I could probably get, like, a whole bunch of, like, severe or massive or whatever the next level is here. I think it's massive. Different skills of the different elements onto one persona. I'm sure I could have done that, but this is more so for like utility on random smaller mobs, not really bosses, so I'm probably not going to be using Loki all that much, but like, hey, the option is here, essentially utility. And then I can't really get rid of personas, so this is just random crap that I threw stuff onto, even though I have like a better persona for doing that. Because, yeah, I can't really get rid of a persona unless I fuse it into something else, but now I fused into like something else that I'm keeping. And I can only get rid of a persona if I'm getting like a new persona and I'm already at capacity. Like, I'm picking up the persona card and it's like, you're already at capacity, choose one to get rid of. So there's just this guy here that's at level 80, just ignore him, because I don't know how to trash him. I would otherwise. Hope you enjoy the lurk there, GMK. All the sniffles. Oh, redeem time yourself out. Well, you know what time it is, then let's go ahead and time out GMK. Enjoy the 10-minute timeout. It's also occurring to me, I didn't even need to go into system and like change it over to this display this time like I usually do when I boot up this game. Like I have had to like every time I've done like grinding on my own time. I don't know why it defaulted to this monitor this time, but hey, I'll take it, I suppose. I also have a lot of funds that I don't really need. I went and bought like a bunch of revival items and stuff. But like I have a lot more like war funds that I can draw on if I really need to with all the crap that I've been doing. How many times did I beat the Reaper? A lot. It looks like an old button obtained from the Reaper, owned 33.
All done here. Come back soon.
So in the main game, I kind of just wanted to get on with it and not take like forever in the Great Grind. Like here, the Great Grind is a little bit easier because you can back out whenever you want and like sell stuff off and then go back to Tartarus. And I wanted to complete all my fusions in the main game at like a certain point, and I was running out of funds. I didn't want to return to Tartarus before the end, even though I could have. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna like cheaty peed in some funds because I don't want to like back out, have to return another day, use another time slot, and yada yada. And I could farm up the funds just by like grinding out the money card through regular battles. I didn't feel like it. So in the main game, like whenever I cheat in playthroughs on this channel, I always disclose that I do. I just cheated in like 2 mil just because I felt like not doing another stream just to be like, hey, I'm advancing it by 1 day so I can sell my stuff and then go back and resume my grind. I hope you enjoyed this half-an-hour stream. Like, it's just, I didn't really want to do that. So I just cheated in 2 mil. I had 2 extra mil at the end that I was willing to say like, hey, let's just pretend that that doesn't exist and say that it cancels out. This time around, there was no cheating. It was all legitimate. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but I managed to see it through, and I didn't even like back out here to sell stuff all that often. Literally just from like pulling king cards over and over again for gold and getting like 40 to 50k every single time that I did that as I was farming against like the Reaper and other mobs over and over and over again. It built up like so many funds that I never actually needed to like come out here to sell to be able to finish my Persona compendium and all my builds. I was able to do so without needing to do that. So, you know, there was that. So my super hardcore Heartless playthrough here and stuff. Anyway, we're at the point in the story now for a little bit of a recap of last time on Dragon Ball Z, considering it was like a month and a half ago. We got all the keys, or we got all the memories that gave us the key to be able to escape this like time loop that we're stuck in. We can now exit through this door here and have time resume. Or, it turns out, we can also potentially go through the door of the main character from the base game who died at the end of the game to go back to the past and potentially save him from sacrificing himself. And the party is conflicted about which way they want to go, so they decide that they're gonna have a friggin' Fortnite battle royale and beat the shit out of one another until one last squad of duos is left standing, and they decide whether they're gonna like try to change time or like get on with their lives. And that's what's happening now. So yeah, let's go ahead and like beat the crap out of all my friends now. I have managed to remain spoiler free to this. I don't know how it ends. Everyone keeps on telling me that like the ending of this is like hot garbage. So I mean, we'll see. BRB alrighty, Anima. I just don't understand what's going through everyone's heads. Please don't let them get to you though, sister. I'll protect you in their place no matter what. Once we leave, we're all going to be split up. You won't be able to see your friends after this. Are you ready? Sure.
Sister?
Okay, follow me then. Oh, a big door.
So this is...
I'm gonna turn up the volume a little bit, I think. Oh, and it pauses the game when I do. Boop, like that.
Where is everyone else?
Don't worry about them. They're just waiting in their own areas. You see the big door up ahead? There's an arena through there. That's where we'll be fighting them. And these are real battles. There will be a price for losing.
Really generous of this time loop to set up an arena for our battle royale for us.
Sister, are you listening?
Is there really no other way?
It seems so. The others didn't appear willing to back down anyway. But even if you refuse to fight, I won't let them take your key.
You promised me that you wouldn't hurt my friends!
I know. But your life might be on the line here.
What?
Your key and your new power are both deeply connected to your heart. So if your key is taken, I think your life could be at risk.
You don't know for sure.
No, but it's possible, isn't it? The other person with the same power as you died, didn't he? I'll protect my sister, whatever it takes. You know, this is actually where I woke up. I'd been wondering what this place is, but now I have this feeling. It's hard to explain, but I think this is what I was meant to do all along.
Beat the shit out of my friends to take their keys.